Let's see here. So we're not starting off with the, what do you call it, the short stream today, because I feel like we should wait until we're actually talking about something while we're still letting people pile in, while we're just kind of vibing. Let's see. Move my windows around here a little bit. All right, we should be ready now. Oh my god. I look like shit. What the f? All right, that's a little bit better. Let's see what we're going to get into today. Go through the content suggestions here. Why are there so many breaking points, Young Turks? Not sure what I think about just like sitting here and shitting on people who are like ostensibly on my side when it comes to the Young Turks, but we'll see. No, don't start it yet. We'll see if any of these are worth getting into. Move, pause. Nope. Critical error in Ukraine-Russia conflict. Man, internet gas is just hating on the Young Turks right now. Biden escalates Ukraine war to sabotage Trump. You know what? Like, we should have been allowing the Ukrainians to shoot ATACMS missiles into Russia since day one. Day one, there should have been, you know, millions of tons of American freedom raining down on the Russians for deciding to invade another country. Ooh, a panel show? I'm not sure if we're going to... Listen, I've opened these up. I'm not sure if we're going to get through all of them because this is going to be a relatively short stream. But, yeah, the Ukraine stuff we'll probably get into a little bit, for sure. Let me see here. The Onion. Oh my god, I love this shit so much.
Circumstances can we put America's homosexuals in danger?
But homosexuals themselves are demanding the right to serve their country in a time of war.
Gays of America are the only group left untouched by war. They're special, pure and rare, like a gleaming diamond or a snow-white colt. We must protect them.
Well, has this always been the goal?
It has been the solemn oath of every man in uniform to lay down his life in defense of America's precious, precious homosexuals.
How many soldiers' lives is the life of one gay man worth?
7. Under no circumstances can we...
7.
Under no circumstances...
God, I miss the Onion so much.
My name is Ronald J. Freely, and I'm a former official in the federal government. I've come here today at great risk to my personal safety to uncover a truth long withheld from the American public, because the people deserve to know what's out there. Despite what you've been told, vegetables do exist. Vegetables are real. My name is Ron.
The best Onion bit. This is the best Onion bit that they've ever come up with, ever, bar none. I will take no questions, comments, or concerns with the content matter. It is the best one.
Autistic reporter Michael Falk joins us now with his interview. Nice to see you again, Michael.
I cannot see you, Brooke. I can only hear you.
Right.
Okay. Hello, Brooke. I finished speaking with Brian Wasserman 26 minutes ago, and I've been standing here since then waiting for you to talk to me. Watch that interview now. Brian Wasserman used to live in a very big mansion. Now he lives in a tiny jail cell. Is living in prison different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Yeah, it's different.
How is it different from living in a 40,000 square foot mansion in Westchester?
Well, it's every second of my day is accounted for. It's just day after day of rigid routine.
Rigid routine. What is the rigid routine?
Well, we get up at exactly 6 a.m.
Yes.
Exactly 6:15 a.m. Everyone is counted.
Counted.
Yeah, we have to line up 7 times a day to be counted.
I'll start it up in a minute, Tron.
And then there's the food. I'd never tasted such terrible food.
How long do you have to stay in the line?
We have to walk in lines everywhere.
Do you have to make that line straight?
Oh, yeah. Well, frankly, I always thought you didn't have to do anything in prison, but we have a work detail, and it's hard. Just yesterday, I spent the entire day stacking crates, just one on top of the other, just...
I like to stack.
You do?
Yes, I like to stack crates, stacking crates.
Yeah, well, it's hard work.
Yes, stacking crates.
I don't mean to complain, but
One on top of another,
I realize
on top
what
of
I
another,
did
on
was
top of another, on
wrong.
top of another.
I just want to serve my time, and maybe I can get out of here and get back to my family.
Why do you want to get out of here?
For my family.
Can you stack your family?
What?
I want to be in prison.
No, you don't.
I want to be in prison.
No, you don't.
Yes.
You see, it takes its toll on you. Well, you wear the same clothes every day,
Yes.
and you live in this tiny little box,
Yes.
and
Yes.
and there's hardly any human contact.
How do I get to live here?
No.
How do I
you-
get to live here? I need
you
to go to
don't-
prison now.
I don't think you understand.
Now.
You see, this is a scary
Now.
place.
Now.
I mean, sure, there are normal guys like me who are in here for
Now.
embezzling and fraud, but
That takes too
we
long. I need to
also
go to
have
prison now.
violent
I need to go
offenders.
now.
I mean, the guy in the next cell over, he robbed the convenience store and shot the cashier.
Robbed a convenience store.
Yeah,
I
so,
shot the cashier. Shot the
you know,
cashier. Okay.
I mean, it's a
Make sure the
scary
cashier's
place.
dead.
It's rough.
Make sure the cashier is dead.
It's just so f***ing good, dude. It's just so f***ing good. Oh my god. Okay, one more. Okay, one sec. Let me open it up on the correct. Give me prison now.
East Timor has a troubled history, but tonight it is a place of inspiration and progress for women. Amivi Gama seized control of the nation's capital today, becoming East Timor's first ever female dictator. Reporter Mark Ward has the story.
It's been a long, hard journey for Amivi Gama, but it was worth it. After a bloody 6-day-long coup, a triumphant Gama declared herself president for life, commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and High Court Chief Justice today, proving that a woman can rule with an iron fist just as well as any man.
For years, we were terrified and oppressed by men. It would be wonderful to now be terrified and oppressed by one of our own.
Dr. Sandra Sujana, the author of the book Amivi Gama, A Woman to Fear, says Gama's success is a sign of the country's progress.
20 or even 10 years ago, nobody could have even considered a woman would behead her political rivals in the town square. It's a truly great day for women.
Dr. Sujana says that in addition to a ruthless pursuit for ultimate power, Gama has a feminine side. Even while leading a campaign of terror through the countryside, rooting out intellectuals and killing religious leaders, Gama made time to be a mother to her children. It's this down-to-earth relatability that has made her an icon to many East Timor women.
She didn't just order her militia to destroy our crops. She got right in there with the torch, and she looked good doing it.
Many expect that, as a woman, Gama will bring a more level-headed and sensitive approach to the massive slaughtering. Even members of the older generation, like former cabinet member Yuriko Alkatiri, have learned to look past Gama's gender and respect her as a political force.
Some people had doubts, but now they're all dead. When she plunged a knife into my crying son's throat as I lay helplessly by, I realized that she could do anything. She's a real dynamo.
The size of Gama's army is all we need as proof to know it's a woman's world now in East Timor. We congratulate you, President Gama. From Dili, I'm Mark Ward for the Onion News Network.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, half of this one, half of this one. And then we're actually done. Then we're actually doing stuff, okay?
A new book called The Truth About September 11th claims to present evidence that the destruction of the World Trade Center was not the work of terrorists, but was in fact perpetrated by the U.S. government. With us, the much maligned book's author, William Gerard.
Most of the mainstream media, they're just too afraid to even have me on, so thank you.
Also joining us is Omar Al-Farouk of Al-Qaeda. He's an outspoken critic of what he calls Gerard's 9/11 conspiracy theories.
The Fox News Hassan article, no link it.
That is all this book is complete nonsense.
Mr. Gerard, how did you arrive at the conclusions in your book? Where are the facts
Well, through
here?
scientific examination of ground zero. For example, the melted core. I mean, that was
here we
definitely
go.
evidence that there were thermite bombs that were used to bring down those
I
buildings.
can assure you, we did not use thermite bombs. I did the research myself. It would not have worked. We flew an enormous airplane into a building. Okay, I think it is obvious what caused the building to crumble.
Why are you being so close-minded to this, sir? If more
How would
people
you
just
like
had the
it
courage.
if you spent, 2 months in a mountain cave, sleeping on rocks, planning something really special, only to have someone take the credit away from you? Say,
More
oh no,
people just
you
had
don't
the
deserve the
courage
credit
to
for
open
it.
up their minds.
That shit's so funny. Okay, we're actually done with it. No more of the Onion. All right. Cheerleading for this was published today. Oh my God. For terrorism, Twitch star called for new 9/11, dismissed horror of October 7th. 4-minute video.
Oh my God. Well, Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. Dog, if Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, America is the top terrorist organization, which it is, by the way. America is the top dog in terrorism, and so is Israel. It doesn't even matter. None of this justifies that Palestinians have a right to dignity, a right to emancipation, a right to live free lives, free from this occupation. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much. So that's the other part of this problem that many people that can't.
Damn, it's just going to be 4 minutes of Hassan's greatest hits, isn't it? Oh my God. Oh, that's bad.
Like, no, Hamas unironically is the lesser evil of the two.
Keep in mind that one of the big things that he was, one of his big things talking about this was that, oh, well, they're only getting all these, you know, like little bitty nothing, you know, outlets to cover this. You know, that like nobody big is covering this because nobody cares. That nobody cares. Now we got Fox News covering it, and it's probably only a matter of time until like an outlet like CNN or MSNBC, probably not MSNBC, maybe. But I could see CNN covering this in like the very near future because of this. Oh, dude.
If you look at the civilian casualties, if you look at the civilian deaths versus the deaths of soldiers, Hamas's percentages are infinitely better than Israel. That's just facts.
He's the leader of Hezbollah, the general secretary of Hezbollah.
What's Hezbollah?
Hezbollah
is that small guy?
Hezbollah is this is the same name.
Okay.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization that is also a part of the Lebanese parliament.
Do we like them or no?
I think as a resistance group, they're pretty successful against Israel.
Oh.
But everybody...
God, the framing of them as a resistance group. Like, they're not a resistance group against Israel. They're a terrorist group. If they were only a resistance group against Israel, then you would only hear about them doing shit to Israel. But guess what? They're in Syria, right? Killing a bunch of Arabs over there. They're not only killing Israelis, they're killing Arabs over in Syria, helping the Assad regime who gassed their own civilians. Like, bro, this is... Imagine being that normie streamer. Here's what I don't understand. I don't even know who the guy is, but I see him in every single one of these really bad Hassan clips, right? And at a certain point, if you're a normie and you have someone who is sitting there, like he was put on Israeli media watching Houthi music videos, quote unquote, or terrorist propaganda, you know, and you know, he's just sitting there watching it, and they're talking about anti-Semitic streamers, and he's the only face on screen because Hassan decided to stand up and just walk away. At a certain point, when do you just say like, hey man, hey, maybe we're still friends, but like you're actually like killing my career right now. You're actually like actively hurting my career because you're like, I'm being seen in all these videos of you doing crazy shit. Like, at what point do you say that to your friend?
Case them. Like, everybody in the region, a lot of people don't like them. Like,
I like what you speed it up.
I don't have an issue with them, let's just say.
Does he know what One Piece is?
اول شيء بقول لك انه ممكن هذا السؤال
Terrorist.
شوي اهبل بس بسالك تعرف شو هو ون بيس عمرك سمعت بون بيس
اكيد
Okay, we've seen all these clips. First on Fox, a popular Amazon-owned video platform geared towards teenagers and young adults is filled with extremist content, including one of its biggest stars praising terrorist groups and even blithely calling for another 9/11 to his 2.8 million strong audience, according to a Fox News digital review. Hassan Piker, who has millions of followers on Twitch, has broadcast propaganda from Yemen's Houthis, framed violent terrorist acts as resistance, expressed sympathy for extremist groups who target civilians, and downplayed the October 7th, 2023 attacks against Jews in Israel. Piker's shocking diatribes are among the most popular on the video game streaming platform, which allows viewers to listen to their favorite personalities opine on topics ranging from pop culture to current events while playing video games. When you find yourself agreeing with Fox News and don't take the slightest moment to think of that implication, if Fox News said that the sky was blue, I would probably agree with them. Like, this exact same framing is something that I've been saying for a while, that a lot of people have been saying for a while, before this Fox News thing came out. It has nothing to do with, oh, I trust Fox News like as a source now, right? Hezbollah cares about Arabs. Hezbollah rockets hits Israeli Arab city, killing a woman. So they got 1 Israeli and 10 Arabs. Let's see here. Oh no, Nick Pohl. He's being shown in the Fox News article too. Oh man, is it just all the quotes that we know? Is there anything else? Oh my god, this is a long article. Oh shit. And they had a picture of Dan Clancy. Oh shit. And Twitch has not publicly addressed Piker's comments, but in a 2023 interview with Bloomberg News, Twitch's CEO Dan Clancy acknowledged being a fan of the streamer. I like the frankness and bluntness, Clancy said. He's comfortable saying what he believes. In a statement, oh no, he gave Fox News a statement. He gave Fox News a statement, bro. Oh shit. Just don't respond to it. If you don't want people to see it, if you don't want people to... He has like the worst mind for PR ever, dude. This isn't about the sky being blue. It's about you thinking every brown militia group as terrorist. I never said that. And when you watch the right-wing frame wing that doesn't care about context and adds it anyway, I have seen all of these clips in their full context. It doesn't make them better unless you know of an extended cut of any of these clips that changes the context in any meaningful way. Like when he talks about I remember him complaining during the
that is
let me find it.
Region
is
Israel.
If you look at can't contend with no, Hamas, unironically, is the lesser evil of the two. If you look at the civilian casualties, if you look at the soldiers...
He's the leader of Hezbollah, the general secretary.
Where is the one where he...
What's Hezbollah?
Hezbollah
is that
is
small guy?
Hezbollah is
terrorist organization that Palestinians have a right to dignity, a right to emancipation, a right to live free lives, free from this occupation. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if rapes happen on October 7th. That doesn't...
This clip right here. This is the extended cut of this clip. This is the extended cut of this clip. They said that, it was so dishonest of people to cut this clip where he says it doesn't matter if rapes happened, right? Because afterwards he says it doesn't change, even if rapes happen, it doesn't change the dynamic even that much for me, he said. He responded? Oh, cool. 1 second. But at a certain point, listen, what Hassan represented before the October 7th attack was hyper progressive kind of guy, kind of dips his toes into the hyper progressive woke stuff and dips his toes into the super tanky stuff. He kind of dipped his toes into both of those things. He didn't really commit one way or another to being all one way or all the other. But post October 7th, right? The language around known terrorist groups is just way too supportive. Way too supportive, Why the fuck would rape justify genocide and an ethnic displacement? Well, I never said that it would. But saying because even if you want to take the framing of genocide and ethnic displacement, right? Oh, Jimmy D, you're in a bad place, okay? You're in a bad place, okay? Because if you're gonna sit there and you're going to like defend and say like, oh well, these guys, well, like what they're doing is they're trying to fight against the Israeli occupation. Like you're looking at one side of the issue. Like both the Palestinians and the Israelis have like legitimate reasons to hate each other. All right, they do. Like over the course of the history over there since the late 1800s or like until the inception of Israel and post that. All right. Was just like violence both ways, like constantly. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. Well, I guess let's just take it from, let's just look at it from your perspective. A bunch of Jews went over there. They just started killing everybody and raping and pillaging and doing everything over there. They didn't really have any reason to do that. They just like went over there and started killing, and they've just like been killing and nobody's called them out on it over the entire history of the 80 years of Israelis like existence. Like if that's the framing that you're giving. That's the framing that you're giving. That is a false narrative? No. Since the Zionist movement, there was like violence, I think beginning in like the early 1900s, like in the 20s, before like Israel was ever like fully promised a state over there. Well, I guess the 20s would have been post World War I. So I guess like in the early, like before that, because I know before even the remind me the name of the promise the British gave the Jewish dude. I can't remember the name of it. But Jews and Arabs lived in peace for a long time, but like since like they were trying to like actively move away from, when they started actively moving away from Europe because of, guess what, anti-Semitism, and they started moving over there, guess what, a bunch of people started fighting over there. Chill out, Corey. All right, you're putting words in a chatter's mouth. I'm literally reading the like exact words that they're saying. And look at the company you keep. Yeah, I don't think that you should do that. Okay. Balfour, it's Balfafore, Balfour. No E at the end. Declaration, yeah. That's around the time where like things started like really heating up. But even before that, they were fighting with each other. There was Arab on Jew violence, Jew on Arab violence, and like ultimately, like the history doesn't matter all that much. It matters in terms of like understanding where both sides are at, but like in terms of like going forward, it doesn't. Oh, I didn't mean to click it. Please don't play. Thank you. It doesn't really matter. Like here's the base take. Israel like probably needs to stop in like yesterday their operation in Gaza. It obviously doesn't have any more military. There's like no military objective that they're seeking at this point. Like they're rapidly trying to hunt down every Hamas supporter, but it's not gonna work out. Like I don't think any reasonable person thinks that. The Palestinians need someone who's going to try and lead a peaceful movement. They haven't had a peaceful movement leader the entire history of the Palestinian resistance movement. Israel probably needs they need a leadership change like crazy. But like, if you're just gonna like sit there and say like, oh well, like Hamas and Hezbollah are like understandable. No, at a certain point, I don't understand it. Okay, can I ask why it's not okay to play a game with hummus? Because you're raking people based off of their ethnicity or perceived ethnicity, and in the other one, you're comparing the words that they say, the things that they do. No way he says they were perfect. You're just disingenuous. Did I say that they need to be perfect? I said that they need to be peaceful. They need someone who's going to go in there, like white moderate me all you want, like, but they need like a Martin Luther King. They need someone who's going to go in there and like actually get shit done in a peaceful way. And like when you're going around and you're blowing people up at music festivals, guess what? You don't get a lot of sympathy on the world stage. If you want sympathy for your cause, probably don't go around and just like, and I don't know, maybe it's because I saw a bunch of the videos that happened on October 6th, right? Like, the one that like sticks in my mind is grandma and 3 children at a bus stop, and then a Toyota pickup truck pulls up next to them, and 3 dudes just unload AKs on them. Just kills a grandma and 3 kids who are waiting at the bus stop. At a certain point, I don't really give a what happens to anyone in Hamas. I don't think that there's any justification for anyone that gave an order that said, hey, go out there and kill as many fucking people as possible. We're doing a terrorist attack. Corey, you're going unhinged. I'm timing you out for 5 minutes, okay? If you continue to be unhinged in chat, then it will be an hour. And if you continue to be unhinged, then it will be a day. Actually, you know what? After 3, I think that I'd probably just ban you. Like, please, for the love of God, you gotta take a hint. Never break from your occupier. Maybe don't kill civilians like grandma and children standing at a bus stop, Jimmy D. Like, do you think that that's acceptable in any way, shape, or form? Grandma and 3 children? Unsubbing 17 months done by... Wait, what happened? Oh, okay, got you. I now I see who it was. Yeah, I didn't know that. You need to chill the fuck out, okay? But like, the Lamau never break from your occupier. What it take? Did I ever say that? Like, do I? It doesn't even feel like you understand what my full take is. But I'm not gonna get stuck. Kick sub gone. Are you actually mad because I timed you out for 5 minutes, CDN? Jesus Christ! It was a 5-minute. No, I said if you like continue to do it like after I time you out for like an hour and then you come back from an hour, I would probably just permaban you for not taking a hint. Jesus Christ. You see where you went wrong, SunSoul, is that grandma and her children were settlers. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Like, if I can say, like, I felt particularly disgusted seeing, you know, a 70-year-old woman and 3 children under the age of 15 get mowed down at a bus stop, and then someone says, like, never break from your oppressors. Like, I don't know. What smoke did I have for Palestine? I didn't say anything about Palestine. Palestinians have a right to have their territory. Gaza and West Bank need to have all settlements taken out of them, or like land swaps need to be done so that they can have their own independent nation. And I think that like the way that Israel goes about doing like literally everything in regards to the Palestinians is abhorrent in every single way. Like, I don't know what the like, but like your brain is so stuck in this. Oh, well, if you're not like sitting there like making every excuse in the world for actual terrorist organizations, then like you're obviously on the side of the IDF bombing the out of the entirety of the Gaza Strip. Did I say that at any single point in this entire conversation? Absolutely not. But that's what you're hearing because you're not hearing the actual words that I'm saying. I think that the Palestinians have a right to self-determination within their borders, right? We have the West Bank, we have Gaza, right? There's probably like, in order for like some kind of realistic thing to happen, like there's probably going to have to be some land swaps. There's probably going to have to be some movement of settlements out of areas so that the Palestinians can take over those areas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's like the real shit, okay? But like at the end of the day, yeah, Palestinians need to stop getting bombed from the IDF. At the end of the day, the Hamas needs to cease as an entity because they are hurting the Palestinian people more than the Palestinian people want. So Israel's not going to do that. How are they going to get their sovereignty? Again, like you like sympathetic movements get shit done, right? Like, but when you have terrorists as the head of your resistance movement, right? If you like, you're no longer a sympathetic, like the world stage isn't going to go out there and say like, oh, well, you know what? Like, yeah, well, I mean, like Hamas, yeah, they might have done some rapes and they might have like, you know, killed grandma and the 3 kids at the bus stop. And they might have just like gone into the music festival and just started blasting. But you know what? Like Israel has been pretty mean to them for a while. Like, no, nobody's got to look at that action and say like, well, obviously now we got to give them what they want. What is this?
Israel's military said it's hit more than 1,000 targets.
Oh my God, it's 18 minutes long.
The attack.
To Hassan, he was taught from this guy about politics. I don't know what the fuck that sentence means. They stated they got the job done. Yeah, what they did was piss off Israel and made like at the end of the day, why the fuck do you think that the average Israeli is terrified of Palestinians? Is because they have like a long history of supporting terrorist movements that go in and bomb Israelis. Yeah, there are reasons that the average Israeli probably is scared to death of anyone in the West Bank or Gaza. All right, like you can only think about this from one side of the. No, it's not propaganda. Literally, like what? How many? I don't even remember the number. Like 1,000 something Israelis were killed. It's literally propaganda. You question the numbers, like you question the numbers of how many Jews were killed on October 7th. It was all just propaganda. None of those people died. They're just like they just sent them on a like long vacation to the Bahamas. What propaganda? What the f are you talking about? Can you please tell me what I said that was propaganda or what I'm watching that is propaganda? Because what I said right before you said propaganda was about October 7th. And then you said propaganda. That's why I'm responding in the way that I am. Okay, we're not going to get caught up on this because it's going to trigger the absolute living out of me. Jesus Christ. Nobody can be reasonable. The crazy people on one side are like, yes, we need to bomb all of Palestine and wipe them off the planet. And then the opposite side are like, yeah, no, like Israel doesn't have a right to exist. We need full right of like nobody cares about either side of this. Well, actually, I would say that the Israelis and, you know, like Jewish people probably do have a bit more of a stake in it than the average Westerner supporting Palestine. But like you people, like they're like you're not advocating for anything that will ever affect you, right? Israelis hate Palestinians due to propaganda. I would probably say that it's due to the history over the past 8 decades of like terrorist attacks coming out of the West Bank and Gaza. And I would say that the Palestinians probably hate Israelis because of the fact that, you know, over the past 80 years, they took over that land and they've been fighting for the past like 100 years, like of their occupation of Gaza. Wait, what please, there must be like some massive delay because you're replying to stuff that I don't even know what you're replying to. Like, put a quote that I'm saying so that I know what the f you're responding to because I don't even know anymore. All right.
They lent merit to that argument by specifically targeting civilians, by specifically murdering them, torturing them, and parading them around in those videos in the worst possible ways imaginable.
If you wanted to help the occupation last longer, you would have done exactly this.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. You guys are so smart. You figured it out. Oh, well, we'll butcher more than they do. We'll oppress more than they do. And then what? The world will trust you? Israel will trust you? Instead, all they're going to do for the rest of the time now is say there are no peace partners. And so it does. And by the way, look, I know, and Ben and I.
He's saying in a much more eloquent way what I was trying to get at. Like, if you go out and you like make your entire like movement around like we're going to kill all the Jews, like at a certain point, yeah, guess what? People aren't going to like you anymore. What about ancient history? They were fighting hundreds. Like that literally does not have any bearing on what's happening now, Shane. Sorry.
Make that argument, right? They lent merit to that argument by specifically targeting civilians.
You stand on business, then you would say exactly what I'm saying and what it seems like Cenk is about to say here. That like, oh, congratulations, Hamas! Like you've just like given them license to go in and blow up all of Gaza. If you actually cared about this, you would actually try and like, you know, make yourself a sympathetic movement that like wasn't going out and we're going to butcher more than you guys do. Like it's like caveman mentality. Oh, we're going to kill as many of them as they killed of us, and then we'll finally be free. Like at the end of the day, that's just like not true. It's just not. It's going to happen.
Specifically,
like plus the fact that like Iran is Hamas's biggest backer, and Iran doesn't seem to give a fuck about Hamas. They love Hezbollah, but they hate Hamas, or they don't hate Hamas. They just don't care about it enough to actually give them anything that would put them on par with the Israeli military. Like, they give them like shitty little bombs that like can't even target, and so they just get blown up in the sky.
Murdering them, torturing them, and parading them around in those videos in the worst.
It's called the PLO. Well, that's because the PLO was like ultra fractured for a long time, and they haven't really like come together. And they're also like really corrupt, right? Like, they need someone who's going to go in there, be a peace advocate, and not be a corrupt piece of shit. That's on the PLO. Like, the movements have massive problems, right? Like, if you're a leftist, then you should probably have a lot of problems with a lot of the leftist movements in the United States, because they don't stand on business, because they're not actually getting anything done. They're not starting out on a grassroots level, trying to get any kind of electoral wins. They're not trying to do anything except for virtue signal. This is what Hamas is doing. They're virtue signaling, but their way of virtue signaling is using AK-47s.
Possible ways imaginable.
If you wanted to help the occupation last longer, you would have done exactly this.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Posted a year ago.
You guys are so smart. You figured it out. Oh, well, we'll butcher more than they do. We'll oppress more than they do. And then what? The world will trust you? Israel will trust you? Instead, all they're going to do for the rest of the time now is say there are no peace partners. And so it does. And by the way, look, I know, and Ben and I.
Nobody said that they formed in a vacuum. I'm saying that they formed, and then they took over, and then they like have been over the Palestinian cause for probably the past 3 decades. Yeah.
Gleave and I discussed it yesterday, that when you have a situation where people are occupied, depressed, etc., it is not a great place for moderates. Unfortunately, people wind up clinging to radicals, right? And I know it's super unrealistic, especially as they get pounded now by Israel. But if ever there was a time for Palestinians to turn around and say, no, not you morons, someone else, someone that could actually help us, someone that could actually get the peace, someone that could actually create an environment where we could raise a family in peace and prosperity instead of constantly being worried about getting bombed and occupied, etc. Can we find one smart person, to and
holy base
around them? If you're a Palestinian in terms of the diaspora, spend all your money, all your energy, all your resources on finding decent representation of your people, so that you're not represented by these monstrous idiots of Hamas.
Yeah, that's like literally, that's my entire take right there. It's said in a much more eloquent way. Not gonna lie. It's exactly that. Okay, we're moving off of the Israel-Palestine thing. Okay, wait, hold on. I want to see the Hassan response, and then we're moving off of it. Okay.
Unleashed a profanity laden try.
Because and this is why we're moving off of it. So they should just sit back and get up then, because you want the perfect victim. You know, in a roundabout way, you're kind of getting it. Yeah. When Martin Luther King was fighting for the civil rights movement, they didn't say pull up with all your rifles and shit. They said, hey, we're going to go out there and you're going to get beat the shit out of. You're going to get sprayed with fire hoses. They put them through like basically torture training before every major march for the people that were going to be at the front of the march. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, because they wanted to be seen as victims, because they were victims of the system. Yeah, no shit. And guess what? That worked, because at a certain point, people saw people sitting at, what's bad faith at there? I didn't say that it was bad faith. Oh, you're talking to SL Icon. But like at the end of the day, when people saw like just some black kids sitting at the ice cream counter and people pouring milkshakes on their heads and spitting on them and beating the shit out of them because they sat at a counter, not doing anything to anyone, trying to pay for their food, not like fighting back whatsoever, and getting their shit kicked in on the ground. Guess what? That led to a lot of sympathy for the civil rights movement. When people went out there and they were marching, using their First Amendment civil rights that were granted by the founders, all right? They had little signs like civil rights, emancipation, blah, 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 blah. Like, guess what? They got dogs launched on them. They got sprayed with fire hoses. They got beat the shit out of. Some of them died. And guess what? It led to more sympathy for the civil rights movement. And guess what? That ended up being effective. Yeah, because like I'm for effective things for people who are being oppressed.
Streaming unleashed a profanity-laden tirade against justifying Hamas's invasion. Wait, what? Justifying Hamas's invasion. If they subjugated you to an open-air prison your whole life, you're going to break out eventually when you realize that there's no other way to get out of it. Do you think that this happened out of nowhere? Do you think...
See, that's the other thing. Like, when you realize there's no other way to get out of it. Like, there hasn't been a legitimate, like, long-term project of trying a peaceful movement to get their, like, borders recognized by Israel. There hasn't been one of those. They either become a militant organization or the militant organizations that do form get more popular because the other ones are corrupt and don't get anything done because they just like corrupt dudes that are sitting in Qatar or however you say it.
Thin air? Are you stupid? Do you think the Israeli state was just like peacefully coexisting?
It was peaceful until Hamas started like getting people to go out there and like start stirring shit. That would have been a really good example. Yes. But Hamas went in and they f***ed it up. Hamas has f***ed up every single thing for the Gazans since like before I was born. When did Hamas take power? Hamas. Let's just go to their Wikipedia page. Wikipedia Andy here. When did they take over? Oh, since 2007. I thought that they were there since like the 90s. Wait, when did it? Oh, it was founded in 87. What do I feel like they were doing shit in the 90s? Or am I thinking of a different group? I must be thinking of a different group. Yeah, but like since 2007. It was peaceful. No. Jimmy, like it was peaceful, but then there were like a couple of people who were part of Hamas or like were goaded on by Hamas militants to go over there with like fire bombs and shit. Like that did happen. Now, I don't have like a perfect memory of the entire situation around the March of Return. But it started off as a peaceful thing. Hamas went in there and did a couple of things. It gave the IDF a license to start shooting. Yeah, like it started off peaceful. It did not remain peaceful. The firebombs started before the shooting did.
These guys came with gliders out of nowhere. That's not a nice way to explain what I was talking about. I never justified it. Analysis is not justification, but of course this is Fox News, so I love that they clip chimp my ass.
We're gonna move off of this. Sorry, I was reading chat.
Israeli state was just like peacefully coexisting. These guys came with gliders out of nowhere. That's not a nice way to explain what I was talking about. I never justified it. Analysis is not justification, but of course this is Fox News, so I love that they clip chimp my ass.
They don't clip chimp. None of those were clip chimped. Those were like your own words, and there was no context immediately after or before that would have changed literally any of the clips. I mean, granted, we only watched the first, like half of it? Like, let's see. Because there have been some that I said, okay, well, this is like a little bit bad faith to clip this one. But like this entire interview was like, I still cannot believe that people defend this interview. Like, he posts and he has said that he is a like Houthi militant, and then he tries to pretend like he's just like a kid who's just like out there, and he's just like a pretty face that happens to be able to go onto the boats that the Houthis have taken over. And then he also is like, dude, it's like Rust when they're like taking over the boats. Look at this, they're on a helicopter. Yeah, there's dudes with guns on the helicopter. Like, you're like we need such better representation for even leftists. Like I say I hate leftists, but again, like it's the leftists I see online. I know so many leftists IRL that are like the chillest most reasonable people ever that we just like have like some disagreements on, right? Like someone who is like a more like blue dog Democrat than I am, I might have disagreements with them, but like ultimately, like, yeah, I mostly agree with like most of what you're saying. I can be friends with you. Even like some conservatives that aren't like batshit crazy like Trump supporters, like there's like some common ground and some things that we can get there, right? And you're not like a completely like terrible person. But like the online left has the worst representation of all time, and until leftists either decide like these people are giving them a bad name, or they accept more voices within the left. I used to be a leftist, okay, and then when I started questioning some little aspects around the edges of it, I got ass blasted out of the communities that I was a part of, just like completely like shot out of it. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm so sorry, Varlock. I am so sorry. There's still time to save you. The Palestinians did not kill anybody during the March of Return. There were rocks thrown and a couple of Molotov cocktails, which in my opinion, especially an occupation, isn't a reason to start murdering. If someone has a Molotov cocktail and they're throwing it at you, I'm sorry, you get to like fire back at them. Okay, if they have a deadly weapon, if someone has a deadly weapon and they're like lobbing it at you, I'm sorry, you get to shoot back. All right. Now I don't know how far, like again, because I haven't read I read about the Great March of Return like November of last year, so it's been a full year, right? There's rules to occupation, right? Yeah, and Israel has probably broken them. But that doesn't mean that like Hamas and Hezbollah and all the terrorist organizations haven't also broken rules around like both morality and like international law themselves, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're looking at it through one hyper-specific lens of like, well, obviously the Israelis are doing bad things. Yeah, but like everyone over there is doing bad things. Someone needs to like there have been instances of Israeli like leadership, maybe not at the very, very top, but I think one person at the very, very top. Nobody says that? Okay, when you say, this is the last thing I'm going to say on this, because I desperately want to move on from this, because we're never going to agree on this, because I hate the extreme sides of both of these. There is no reasonable conversation to be had with you on this. Not because you're an unreasonable person, but because you're not hearing the words that I'm saying. Like literally, you're not hearing the words or the implications of the words. You're like taking a completely different implication from them than what I'm actually saying to you. Okay, when you say, when there were a couple of rocks thrown and a couple of Molotov cocktails, even if there's an occupation, it isn't a reason to start murdering. At a certain point, like, yeah, if a Molotov cocktail is being thrown at you, yeah, you get to start firing back. Okay. And when I say like, wait, what was it even that I said that you said nobody says that to? Like what did I just say? I'm so sorry. I've been so triggered by the Jimmy D guy that I've completely neglected to look at Twitch chat. I am once again asking, is the Houthi kid a confirmed militant? Yes, someone asked him on Instagram and he commented. They asked him if he was, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was a very direct question asking about the, like, whether or not he was, like, part of the militant organization of the Houthis. And he was like, of course. Yeah, like, he confirmed it himself. Yes, he is. I just want people to stop dying. Well, that's not going to happen until, like, what we need is like, because the Republicans aren't going to do this. Donald Trump isn't going to do this. We need a Democrat to come into office who is going to have more of a backbone to like draw a red line at what activities Israel is allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do when fighting against people that are lobbing rockets at them. And we need a Palestinian leader who is going to come out and actually be for peace and actually be that voice of reason and be like radically pacifist to show the Palestinian movement for what it is, like a sympathetic cause, right? But unfortunately, the people that are the biggest, names in the Palestinian movement are like the craziest, most militant people in the entire world. Okay. Netanyahu is very happy Trump is in. Yeah. I mean, did y'all see the, wait, hold on. Let me see if I can find this clip on Twitter. Mike Huckabee. Unhinged. I think it was from a couple of years ago, though, but I think it's right here.
My feelings personally.
Translate post. Yeah. When was this from? 2017. Okay. Like, this is who he put in charge as ambassador. This is who he put in as ambassador to Israel, okay? This is what the Muslim communities in Dearborn, Michigan voted for.
My feelings personally, and I'm speaking only as a person, I think Israel would only be acting on the property it already owns. I think Israel has title deed to Judea and Samaria. There are certain words I refuse to use.
One second. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to import some leaders to Palestine, and I'm on the Palestinian side. Well, I don't think, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that would ever work because, if you're importing someone over there, then they're not going to see them as, being, part of the movement,
There is no such thing as a West Bank.
Yeah, I'm about to start it.
There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
That they get out of their...
This is the guy that that we're going to have as our ambassador. Snapping. Oh, yeah, sorry. I still have it. Yeah. This is the guy we have that's going to be our ambassador. Listen to it one more time while I set up this short stream. Okay.
My feelings personally, and I'm speaking only as a person, I think Israel would only be acting on the property it already owns. I think Israel has title deed to Judea and Samaria. There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation.
That they get out of their minds that people are living in lean-tos and tents, and sleeping in cars, circled around a tree. They're living in very well-designed and beautiful cities and communities. Can't wait to get back. I'm going to take an extra hat. I'm going to get it to President-elect Trump. Build Israel great again. Who knows? We may see him wear this out there in one of his rallies somewhere. I don't know. Can't promise that. I can only promise he will get a copy of the hat. Thank you very much.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to try and start a YouTube short stream, okay? It's saying that this will not end my stream, but just stand by if it does, okay? Okay, looks like we're good. It looks like we're good. Reuse settings. Next. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Public, yeah. Stream is not over. Stream is just beginning. Start streaming. Manage broadcast. Wait. No, it's streaming it's streaming the wrong one. What the hell? End stream. Yeah, end. Dismiss. Refresh. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm on YouTube Shorts already? Wait, what the f? That can't be right. That can't be right. Wait, what the f? That can't be right. Wait, what? Huh. Weird. You're small now. Oh, okay. That's lock in, folks. Chilling going over news. Which one is which? Oh my God, this sucks ass. Oh my God, I'm never doing it like this again. We're never doing it like this. Oh my God, Corey, CDN, go back to Twitch. I'm giving you 5 seconds to go back to Twitch. Something is super with my RTMP links here. Modify. Copy. paste. Okay, it's the same. Okay. In this one, chilling, going over news, stream settings, copy. And let me go to this one. Settings. Stream. Okay, sorry, YouTube viewers. Widescreen is going to have to go down because I cannot make this shit work right now. Sorry. I don't know why it's not working. Why won't it let me do it? Oh, I see why it says I'm tiny. I wonder why that is. Okay, yeah, I'm giving up. Stop. All right, we're giving up on that. YouTube chat is just going to have to stay into the short stream format because the other way is just simply not working, unfortunately. All right, we are moving on from the Israel-Palestine topic, and we are moving on to something else entirely. We can do Elon at war with Trump, transition over tariffs, Treasury Secretary. But we're not going to be able to have time to go over that, so I'm not going to do that. Let's talk about... We haven't had widescreen for a while. The mainstream has been in shorts format since you took down the short stream. Well. Oh, well. Now we're here, okay? Now we're here. Okay, and we're live on Twitch, right? Yes. Well, we ought to be. All right, we're going to go over the Biden makes critical error in Ukraine-Russia conflict. Well, Jimmy D, there is the open offer to jump into the Discord. I do not want to debate about Israel-Palestine right now because there's other things I want to go over. And I have about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to stream, unfortunately. So if there's something specific, again, if you guys want me to go over something specific on stream, you guys can always go and join the Discord. It will give you a link in the chat to join the Discord. You just go to the content suggestions, you drop it into the content suggestions. It makes it to where I can click on links because YouTube doesn't allow you to post links. Alrighty. So, I don't know if you guys heard that on the microphone, but it was a very loud boom outside my house. Strange. All right. Well, anyways, let's see what the Young Turks has to say. Wait, do I want to see... I think I'd rather shit on breaking points. Sorry. So I was getting shot at again. Oh, shit. Does that clip of me while I'm sitting just chilling late night streaming? Just chilling late night streaming? It's suddenly there's like street war erupts and you can hear it on the microphone. Is that clip still alive on Twitch? Please, if someone can find that, please find that for me. That shit was so funny. Okay. MAGA? Sorry, Andrew. All right. Biden escalates Ukraine war to sabotage Trump. I don't think that's why it is. Just so everybody knows, everybody's freaking out. Everybody's losing their mind over the decision to let Ukraine launch our ATACMS missiles. I will use those points in a second, okay? CDN. But like everyone's freaking out over the fact that we're allowing them to lob missiles now. But it's not a bad thing that we're letting them. We should have been able to let them do that since like day one. Okay, they were being invaded, and we were too scared of Russia, escalating the war. But like every time Russia escalates the war, we allow Ukraine to do a little bit extra, right? And then they say we're the ones escalating, and then they escalate the war, and then we allow Ukraine to do something else, or we give them a different kind of weapon, and then they say that we're the ones escalating it. Russia is the one routinely escalating this war. Do we really want a nuclear war, though? Andrew Davis, I will give that full take in a second. But at the end of the day, no, we don't want a nuclear war. But also at the end of the day, we're probably not going to have a nuclear war. Russia, like for all of its political, like bad decisions that you've made over the past couple of years, they only go so far as what they think that they can get away with. Nobody in Russia is stupid enough to think that they could get away with a nuclear strike. Their own allies, right? Their own allies in China and in North Korea and in Iran, like all of these like allied countries that are their only lifeline. Okay. Wait, what did I do now, Jimmy D? What did I do? I'm not even crying. I'm just explaining something. But yeah, like when all of these other nations that they're relying on as their only lifeline to the outside world, right, are saying like, hey, there are lines that you cannot cross. Even Russia is being like hamstrung in some ways, obviously not to the degree that we're hamstringing Ukraine, but like China does not want to deal with a world where Russia nukes Ukraine or nukes a Western allied nation. It would be over for Russia in less than 24 hours, I would say. Let them have the Donbass and create a demilitarized zone like North Korea. No, I think that Ukraine has the right to fight until it feels like it no longer can fight. And we should find any way possible to help them with negotiations towards that end. Will it probably mean giving up part of the Donbass or creating that as a demilitarized zone? Probably. But also, we should be supporting Ukraine like crazy. Because remember, and you know what? I even shared his post about this. There's a really smart guy I like who goes by Ryan Macbeth because that's his name. Let me see here. Premium. Go to my likes. I don't know if I retweeted it, but I definitely liked it. There we are.
And one easy.
So really quick, if you don't know who this guy is, he's former military. He works in, like military technology. I think he's working on something to do with medical drones delivering bags of blood to injured soldiers right now, So yeah, he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to the
political.
Why I didn't even click you? Why are you playing? He has a very big background in all of this stuff. Okay. If we threaten their sovereignty enough, they will have nothing to lose. I do believe they would in that situation. Yeah, if we threatened their sovereignty, but we're not threatening their sovereignty. We're not allowing them to take over another nation. If we were invading them, yeah, they would probably use nukes at that point. But they're not going to use nukes over this because there's literally no reason for them to. It would hurt them more than it would help them. And McPhiston in my Twitch chat is 1,000,000% right. What the 5,000th threat Russia made about nukes? They didn't nuke us when we sent them Abrams tanks. They didn't nuke us when we gave them Shadow Storm missiles. They didn't nuke us when we gave them, the Leopard tanks or any of the other things, the F-16s. At the end of the day, I think that maybe they're just trying to make people like you scared that we're going to get into a nuclear war so that they can do whatever the they want. But they captured many of those tanks and trolled us? No. Oh man, you actually eat up so much of the Russian propaganda. They haven't lost that many of the Western tanks. There have been some that have been damaged. I think that there's been one Abrams tank that got captured. One Leopard tank that got captured, but I don't think that they got a Challenger. I don't think that they've fully destroyed but one of the Western tanks. I don't know if they've been able to repair the other ones, but they've only fully destroyed one, maybe two, Keep poking the bear and you will find out. Well, if Russia wants to do the biggest move in the entire world, drop a nuke on either a Western allied nation or on Ukraine, then Russia can watch all of its allies stop giving them any anything. India won't be buying their gas anymore. China has already said not to go to the nuclear route, so they'll probably stop supporting them because they don't want to be associated with the people that decide to drop a nuke in an aggressive manner, since they were the ones that invaded. Like, at the end of the day, Russia would be shooting themselves, literally nuking themselves into the... Do we actually know the real reason they attacked in the first place? Probably they're just like trying to expand their sphere of influence. That's the only consistent reason that I could think of. I don't think that there's any like deeper meaning to it than that. They wanted to expand their influence, and they did not like the fact that that Yanukovych was ousted. They didn't like the fact that their separatists that they backed from 2014 to 2018 weren't able to do anything, so they put their own soldiers on the ground thinking that would do something. Those soldiers weren't able to do anything, so at the end of the day, they were like, well, we gotta like get a quick victory here. So they thought that they could just invade and take it over, and then all their tanks started falling apart, and then it became a quagmire for them. So yeah. Russia doesn't need to use nukes. They have plenty of other munitions to use. Well, they have plenty of munitions, but a lot of them are made in North Korea and have like a 30% dud rate, so...
Here's how you end up in a war with China in one...
Hold on, really quick. Just Andrew Davies. I didn't say territory, right? I didn't say territory. I said sphere of influence, right? I don't think that they want to, like, turn Ukraine into a literal part of Russia, right? I think they want Ukraine to be like Belarus, right? Basically like Russia light, where Russia has basically control over what they do and what they say, and, you know, where their politics goes and who they support. Yeah, that's what I think that they want. A buffer zone? No, it's more like a vassal state. No way, you unbanned me, SunSoul? It's me, EB3. I don't know who EB3 is. Right of reply? I'm sorry. Remind me. I have no idea who you are. I'm not trying to be like a bitch about it. Like I've had a very like hard like year. Okay, we clashed a while back. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, 1 second. Let me watch this real quick.
Here's how you end up in a war with China in one easy tweet. Political commentator Charlie Kirk put out a letter to Russia saying he only wants peace. I'm at a NATO conference in Brussels right now, and one of the things I've learned is that if we do not support Ukraine, we will be fighting China in 2 or 3 years. China intends to invade Taiwan in October 2027 or April of 2028. China is actively destroying American manufacturing jobs. They are putting deadly chemicals on our street, and they think we are weak. If we don't support Ukraine, they will think we are even weaker, and they will take that as a green light that they can invade Taiwan in 2027 or 2028, and we won't do anything about it. The fact is that arming Ukraine now with weapons, not even soldiers, just weapons, puts America first, because ultimately it will deter China, and that will save American lives.
True. Look, I'm for a free Ukraine, but not at the risk of American lives. Yeah, like he said, I don't think that we should be putting U.S. troops in a hot war with Russia by any means, okay? Well, Taiwan has our chips, yeah, but like this is kind of like a litmus test, right? Like, how far is the United States willing to go to defend its allies and its friends, right? We had a very like friendly relationship with Ukraine leading up to the initial invasion of Ukraine in 2014, and throughout that time until like today, we've had a very close relationship with them. People talk about them being corrupt and, you know, they're an Eastern European nation, post-Soviet state, blah, 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 blah. But like in terms of like the capital L liberalization, because I know I have a lot of conservatives that watch me on YouTube, in terms of like the capital L liberation that the, what do you call them? The Ukrainians have been doing, you know, free trade and becoming friendlier with the West and, you know, more capitalism, less cronyism, et cetera, et cetera. Like they had been making great strides towards that end. They weren't, I don't even know if they were good yet, right? Like if they had like gotten rid of a lot of it, but they were on that path. They were making like good steps towards, and good faith steps towards that end, right? And we were helping them with that. If we sell them out like we sold out the Kurds, right? Then China's going to be like, well, they probably don't have an appetite to help with Taiwan. You're an idiot. America first, LOL. Sorry, maybe I missed something. Are you saying America needs to defend its allies regardless of your America first. Yeah, I agree with that. But why are you saying, who said America first? Do you think Putin will give Trump any wins here for optics? I don't know. I think that the thing with Russia and Trump is, it just depends on who is licking his ear last. You know, Ukraine and Zelensky only came to, no, Zelensky was elected actually. So, well, EB3, next time I'm able to stream, which I don't know when that's going to be, we can have a conversation about it. Okay. Oh, wait, we just watched this. We're done with that. Let's watch Breaking Points.
At the same time,
Wait, hold on. Also, someone said, like, schizo, mental illness chatter. Like, someone remind me who he is. Because if it's someone who's, like, going to, like, make it difficult for me to have, like, future job prospects, I probably don't want to talk to that person. No offense to you if you're not that person. Right? Like, I don't know who you are. No offense, because I just talked to a fuckload of people over the years. But yeah, like, I have, you know, a future ahead of me. You do know who I am? Brother, you do know oh, you mean like once I see like either your face, your channel, or like a profile picture or something. I'm just really bad at remembering specific conversations. What do you think of, I don't know anything about England because I'm an American and we already broke from them once. So, fuck them. Okay?
some very troubling news out of Ukraine. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen.
I hate this guy so much. Why? What does he feel bass boosted to you guys? Man, ever since Destiny, and then everybody started pointing out that Hassan bass boosts the out of his voice, I started noticing it with everybody. Why do all these guys, like, if I look at my EQ over here, I have it like perfectly in the middle, right? I have the treble and the bass at the like 0 mark. It's not boosting it, it's not negating it at all, right? I haven't gone through the trouble of doing any of that. But now when I hear other people, I notice when people bass boost their microphones, dude. Why do they do that? It's embarrassing. All right? It's so cringe. I only ask because it's hard for me to support allies who lock people up for speech and take their citizens' guns. Australia. Well, like, if you're like worried about like sovereignty, like at the end of the day, I think that as long as we have friendly relations, they're willing to work with us. We're willing to work with them. They'll come to our aid if we're in trouble, and we'll come to their aid if they're in trouble. Like, if we have that kind of relationship and we like work together with the intel and stuff like that, unless they're just like unbelievably abhorrent, you know, like throwing gays off of rooftops or, you know, burning women for being witches or some crazy shit like that, I don't think that I really have that much of a problem with us being allies with people. It would take some like real extreme shit for me to say like they're so morally abhorrent to where we could never be allies with them in good faith, right? But like at the end of the day, like England has their own laws and their own like moral sensibilities based off of their culture, right? We have our own laws and our own sensibilities based off of our culture. Like if we want to have guns, we can have guns. I'm pro Second Amendment, you know? What do you think of Canada's government? I think I don't know shit about it. It's America light, right?
At the same time, there's some very
like when I say like I know a lot about like world politics, I'm talking about like geopolitics when it comes to like, you know, who our allies are and what our like conflicts are abroad. But I don't know like the intricacies of like our allies or like our enemies, you know, ways of organizing their states, you know. So if you ask me questions like that, I probably just don't know. Unless there's a specific story that you want me to go over on stream. Which, if there is something that you want me to go over specifically on stream, you can always join the Discord right there. A link will pop up in just a second. There it is. And let me find the Discord window. See right here, we have content suggestions. Everyone that joins into the Discord, you can always chat in the main chat room. You can jump into a voice call with me if you think that I'm saying something that's incorrect. And you can go to the content suggestions and I'll likely go over it on stream. Unless it's like a 10-hour video on philosophy and then I just really don't want to, you know?
Very troubling news out of Ukraine. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. The Biden administration, with less than 2 months left in office, has dramatically changed U.S. policy in Ukraine, allowing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles to strike inside of Russia.
Now, before he goes any further, there is an answer to why we did this. Does anybody know? Raise your hand in chat if you know the answer. What is our, letting them shoot attack missiles into Russia in response to? Does anybody know? There's been a really big news story coming out of Russia for the past couple of weeks. 3, 2, 1. It's the North Korean soldiers. North Korea sent like tens of thousands of soldiers to Russia to fight on the front lines. Let me see. Actually, I don't know. There has to be a reason for this. It's because, North Korea, Ukraine. How many troops did they send over there? BBC, what we know about North Korean troops in Ukraine. Even the number being deployed, originally put at around 11,000 by the Pentagon, has been debated. According to Bloomberg, unnamed sources believe Pyongyang may actually deploy as many as 100,000 troops. And I've heard that there's 50,000 in Russia right now, both being trained, being transported, and on the front line, right? It is unbelievable. North Korea sent soldiers to Europe and no one cares. Well, obviously America does, because we just said, hey, you know what? You can shoot attack missiles at them. Let's go.
The president, for the first time, authorized the Ukrainian military to use the ATAC.
Oh, yeah. Also, now they are addicted to internet videos of girls dancing and porn. Yeah, the North Koreans, they didn't have access to the internet, at least in the way that we have it over here in the rest of the world. And so they come over into Russia and they get access to the internet for the first time in their entire lives. And they found porn, and they had to be like, I think there have been like some court-martialings and some like, punishments doled out because they've spent so much time just like watching pornos. Jesus.
The ATACMS to help defend its forces in the Kursk region. Now, this is particularly insane for a number of reasons. One is that this was considered a red line for Russian President Vladimir Putin, which he has said repeatedly, and said if you do so, then NATO will be considered an active military target and participant in this war. Second,
they've said this about literally every single thing that we have sent over to Ukraine. They haven't done shit. You know what they've done? They've done little tiny like sabotage things in Europe, which is not good, obviously, but like that's all that they can do, because they know that if they actually attack a NATO nation, if they can't take over Ukraine, then if they attack a NATO nation, they're gone tomorrow, It was probably a half fake story and probably just some I don't even know what that word is. I'm scared to say it out loud. I don't know if it's a bad word, like if it's something get me banned. Watching porn, I heard from, it was like open source intel people who were releasing not logs, but like voice recordings of Russians complaining about their North Korean counterparts. And some of those things were a little bit racist, but they were also like talking about like, these guys won't stop jerking off. Fight in Ukraine or lose to NATO. Yeah, like they need to choose.
If you actually look, Crystal, at the military operation where this is happening, this is to support a Ukrainian invasion of Russia. So this is Ukraine's invasion of Kursk, where they crossed an internationally recognized border with a military operation and are now facing a Russian offensive of Russian troops and some 50,000 North Korean elite special forces. We are using these long-range missiles for Ukraine to strike inside of internationally recognized sovereign Russian territory. Now,
hey, all those missiles that have been going into Ukraine for the past, 2014 to 2024, 10 years, I wonder, are those internationally recognized borders of Ukraine? Yeah, only Russia can do that. Only Russia can violate the sovereignty of another state. Okay, only Russia's allowed to do that.
Two wrongs don't make a right, correct? If your entire case is they illegally invaded us, they took our territory and all this, and you're like, oh, well, we're going to invade you to show you who's boss. It's like, okay, philosophically, I can understand that. But if your entire case is around having the entire world support your democratization project and all of that, it's like, well, then it gets a little bit complicated.
Wait, what? Say it again?
They illegally invaded us, they took our territory and all this, and you're like, oh, well, we're going to invade you to show you who's boss. It's like, okay, philosophically, I can understand that. But if your entire case is around having...
Who is it? Whose perspective is he talking about? Did I miss one key word? There's something's off about what he's saying there because it doesn't make any sense. What do you think the solution is to all this? Andrew, really quick, Tron, cut this part out. I'm going to address Andrew Davies. All right? I'm a relatively reasonable person. All right. I am left of center. All right. I would say that I'm pretty solidly Democrat at this point. But if the Republican Party could get their shit together and not worship, the orange man, there is a reality in which I would vote for a Republican depending on what their policies are. When it comes to the DEI, open borders, and transgenderism push is exactly why Trump won. The transgenderism delusion by conservatives, the only people I ever see, I watch a lot of liberal media. I watch most, if not all, of the speeches that Democrats give, and transgender issues are just not the first and foremost thing out in front of people's minds. You can disagree with me, but I don't think that this election cycle, Kamala Harris talked about trans people a single time, maybe in passing, but the big clip of the transgender surgeries in jail, that was from 2018 or some shit like that. It's just yeah. Or a teacher is talking about it. Brother, I've worked in education. All right. I've been a teacher. I've been a substitute teacher. I've been a tutor. I've been all sorts of things. Okay. I've been in education. Literally never have I ever been have I ever seen or been told to talk about these things. We just talk about, hey, be nice to the other kids, okay? Don't be mean, all right? These things are exceedingly rare when they happen. And if there is a way that a teacher is talking about it to their students in a way that is unacceptable, yeah, fire them. But it's not this massive push where they're trying to indoctrinate everybody, all right? I've been in the classrooms at multiple schools across multiple school districts. It's just not a thing that I've seen anywhere. But yeah. Also, really quick, since we're cutting this part out of the segment, and I'll tell Tron when we can come back, all right? Hey, guys, if you have never seen my stream before, and if you like my stream, please consider subscribing, or there's also ways that you can support me financially. You guys can use the super chat function if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're wanting to put money directly in my pocket to help me get gas money to go to work. There is a link right there, donate, and that would put money directly in my pocket. I'll also throw that link over into Twitch chat because your boy is poor and wants money so that he can go to work and buy Christmas presents for his family because I need to start thinking about saving money for that. Exceedingly rare. There are hundreds of videos online showing these crazy teachers forcing it on kids. I have seen some videos, not all of the videos that lives of TikToks. I have a job, Toaster. I've seen the TikToks from Lives of TikTok. There are some of those that are really bad, and some of them are kind of milk toast, and they're not even during classroom hours. They're in their classroom and they're making a TikTok after school, which I would say is considerably different depending on what the content of it is. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say if someone's well, we need to trans these kids and not tell their parents about it. Yeah, fire that teacher. But if someone's saying hey, you're not going to treat that kid with disrespect, which is I remember one teacher that got doxxed by Libs of TikTok. I wish I could remember the specific instance around it, right? But it was literally just a video of a teacher chewing out another kid for being cruel to another kid. Right? Because they were videoing the bullying, and then the teacher comes in, starts chewing them out for hey, would you like it if we made fun of you for this or that? No. So you need to stop making fun of them for this. You need to leave them well, they didn't say, but and that person got doxxed and they got fired, and that shit's just acceptable. Like, people need to like snap back to reality and just start treating people with respect. But you know, no, debate champion, you're insane. Okay, let me hear what he's going. Okay, coming back, snapping back. Tron, restart the segment. Okay.
Repeatedly and said if you do so, then NATO will be considered an active military target and participant in this war. Second is if you actually look, Crystal, at the military operation where this is happening, this is to support a Ukrainian invasion of Russia. So this is Ukraine's invasion of Kursk, where they...
I hate this slimy so much. If we have country A, right, and then all along the top of it, here, let's do it like this. Okay, we have country A, and then we have country B. Country B is red, and country A is blue. And country B decides, LOL, we're just going to invade you. And they take this much of the country, okay? Just like hypothetically, okay? Just like hypothetically. And so like this is all like taken over, and they're still in an active military conflict. Something that like country A here might consider doing is like, oh, you're going to take that part of our country? Well, we're going to take this part of your country. And when you decide that you're done, you know, invading our shit, we'll say, okay, you give us back this area, or sorry, you give us back this area and we'll give you back that area. Ukraine has no interest in keeping Kursk. Russia has an interest in keeping the Donbass, Luhansk, and Zaporizhia and all the other, in Crimea and shit. All right? Like, you don't get to sit there and say like, oh no, Ukraine invaded Russia. How dare they? When like Russia has been like slaughtering Ukrainians for the past 10 years. Like, you don't get to cry about it. Or if you are going to cry about it, then shed your real tears about like how you want authoritarian regimes to be able to act with carte blanche across the world stage, you know?
They crossed an internationally recognized border with a military operation and are now facing a Russian offensive of Russian troops and some 50,000 North Korean elite special forces.
Yeah, the North Korean elite special forces were why we were letting them use attack missiles inside of Russia, because they haven't been able to use any U.S. munitions inside of Russia. Because why? We told them that they're not allowed to. So they're over there and they're just like using small arms and artillery, and they're not using missiles like they should be if they want to, you know, have that bargaining chip for when the war ends.
They're using these long-range missiles for Ukraine to strike inside of internationally recognized sovereign Russian territory. Now, two wrongs don't make a right, correct? You know, if your entire case is they illegally invaded us, they took our territory and all this, and you're like, oh, well, we're going to invade you to show you who's boss. It's like, okay, philosophically, you know, I can understand that. But if your entire...
It's not philosophically, or it's reality. It's a bargaining chip for when you go to the bargaining table to end the war. You say, hey, we have your region, you have our region. We'll get out of your region if you give us our region back.
Cases around having the entire world support your democratization project and all of that. It's
I
like,
don't
well,
think
then
so,
it gets
Andrew.
a little bit
No.
complicated. And so
China will not intervene into the Ukrainian war outside of giving Russia, you know, whatever they're giving them. They try and keep it on the hush-hush, but I don't know if we have any, like, open intelligence that tells us what they're sending over there. I don't think they're directly sending munitions, though. But they're, like, they don't want to get involved in Ukraine because they're too busy trying to get set up to invade Taiwan.
already we can confirm as of this morning that the first long-range missile was used inside of Russia. But second, if you read inside of it, they say they do not expect this to change the course of the war. They do not expect this to change the course of this offensive. At best, you know, you can kill a few more North Koreans or Russians. So it's not even strategically going to really change the outcome. And then finally...
It absolutely does. It changes the entire dynamic. Again, like I'll remake my little diagram. I'll remake my diagram, okay? Let's go like this. Let's go like this. Let's go like that. And then let's get blue and let's go like that. If Russia takes over this much of Ukraine, right? And then Ukraine is like, LOL, you take that, we're going to take this. They have a bargaining chip. But if they don't have that, right? What bargaining chip does Ukraine have to say, get the f out of our territory? They don't have one. Does SunSoul think men can get pregnant? Please let me do one segment at a time. You guys are obsessed with trans people. It's just like not a like trans issues are just like such a small issue on the global scale. Like you guys obsess over it so much. Like I'm the biggest lib cuck loser in the entire world. I have so many gay and like trans friends. Like I've met maybe 4 trans people in my entire life. 4 in my entire life. I'm nearly 30 years old. It's not that big of a deal. There's not that many of them in the entire world. Like it's just like not an issue. Like Christ in heaven.
I think this is a really disgusting move because what I think is happening is that they are trying, number one, Anthony Blinken said they're going to push every dollar out to Ukraine that they possibly and legally can while they're in office. And 2, I think that they're trying to set the standard for Donald Trump and his administration in office so that they are then forced to try and get headlines in the media being like Donald Trump reverses the policy of missiles, long-range missiles that are.
Hell yeah. Like, and I don't have a problem with that. We should be trying to make sure that Ukraine is set up for a like good conclusion to this war. I saw something on the Ukrainian government wanting to make nukes. They said that like if like nobody gives us any security guarantees, right, at the conclusion of the war, then we're probably going to have to look into getting nukes, which is a totally reasonable statement. It's the same reason why North Korea wanted to get nukes. It's the same reason Iran wants to get nukes. It's the same reason that like Israel wanted to get nukes, and India and Pakistan. Like if you have nukes, people don't invade you. Right? Now, I don't think that we should want that to happen, which is why I think we should give them security guarantees so that we don't have nuclear proliferation all over the entire world. You know?
Are being used inside of Russia and allowed for the Ukrainian forces. It's a deep state, tried and true thing. They did it to Obama as well whenever he was coming into office. And so the entire policy is nuts. The entire policy is crazy.
I think the idea is that Ukraine feels like if Trump is coming into office, there is a decent chance, we don't know for sure if this is going to happen or not, but there's a decent chance that he's going to force some kind of a peace settlement.
Yes.
And they want to be able to have something they can trade for their own territory in that settlement. And so the idea is if they can be successful in this, I'm not validating, I'm just explaining the logic. If they can be successful in this, Russian attack and invasion and have some territory in Russia that they hold, that they can use that as a bargaining chip to come out in a better position after these negotiations. So I think that's ultimately what's going on here. And that doesn't undercut what you said, Sagar, of the level of danger of allowing this to unfold. I do think it's unlikely that Putin, because he also is seeing the same landscape of like, let's wait and see what Trump does when he comes in. I think it's unlikely that he reacts in the most aggressive and hostile way of like actively attacking a NATO country or, using nukes or something like that. But, you're running a risk and that's kind of a wild thing to do.
Look at already what they're doing. Again, Ukraine is losing. They have been losing territory consistently for months. We've been focused on the elections, so we haven't been able.
Yeah, technically. But I think that they've advanced along the entire front like a kilometer, sorry. Like it's been like a couple of meters a day. Like we can say that, oh, they're losing, but like the lines over time have been like fairly stable.
To cover it, but put this up there on the screen. I mean, the largest missile attack on Ukrainian infrastructure literally just happened a couple of days ago. It's a disaster over there for them. I mean, their population already.
You don't care about Ukraine. Stop pretending like you do, you slimy snake.
The latest poll that has come out shows that 52% of Ukrainians want to pursue a negotiated settlement. That's up almost 30%.
That doesn't mean that they want to like end the war like on Putin's terms.
Over the last couple of years. Also, let's put this on the screen. From the Wall Street Journal, Trump's push for the Ukraine peace finds, quote, growing acceptance in Europe. Germany, arguably the country with the most to lose, and, the balance of power and all that, their chancellor has said, no way, we're not sending more long-range missiles or escalating the war in Ukraine. We'll provide them with basic military assistance, but their red lines they're sticking to because they have real stakes. They also know they don't have the money to continue this war without the colossal.
We do.
Amount of funds the United States has been pushing into this conflict. So all the signs point to what is obviously best for everybody, Ukraine, Russia, and for the entire world. Let's end the war now. Nobody is going to win.
I agree. Let's end the war. Let's say, Russia, you need to get the out of there. You're not allowed to just invade other countries because you feel like you have the rights to do that. Like we live in a world where, like post World War II, we don't do wars of conquest anymore. We don't do land conquest anymore. We don't invade people just because we like feel like we have the right to, right? There have been like some isolated incidents, some of them that the United States is taking part in, I don't agree with those. That doesn't mean that Russia gets the right to do it.
Win, the Russians or the Ukrainians. Although, and I will at least...
America just has Iraq. Yeah, Iraq was like a really bad one. Afghanistan was our justified war in the Middle East. We f***ed that up. Iraq was like, and again, I'm only 30 years old. I say only. I'm almost 30 years old next year, right? Like, I grew up, 9/11 happened when I was 5. I don't know like the lead up to the Iraq war that well in terms of like the intricacies of what happened leading into it. I don't know the intricacies of what happened throughout the Iraq war or, anything like that. But like, do you hear him screaming? Sorry, my cat was screaming. But yeah, I don't know the like intricacies of that. But like as far as that I can tell based off of like the very like broad strokes that I know, it seems like Iraq was like pretty much like completely unjustified in terms of us getting involved over there and shit like that, right? And like America has dealt with the consequences of that for a long time and continues to deal with the consequences of that within our own borders, right? We're too scared to even do anything like help our allies in Ukraine because everybody thinks about Iraq constantly.
Please give the counter case. John Mearsheimer doesn't believe a negotiated settlement will happen.
Yeah, John Mearsheimer is a Russian hack.
Because he goes, look, Russia's already winning the war. Why would they do it? Russia and the Putin regime, specifically the Putin regime, has very little respect for human life. They don't care, right? A couple 100,000 people are dead, whatever. For some reason in Russia, they seem to be okay with that, especially the government. Well, now you've got these elite, North Korean forces who are with you. You've got North Korea giving you ammunition. You've got Iran producing these suicide drones. You're actually rolling back the territory. You've got the sunk cost fallacy of a couple 100,000 people, maybe, we don't know, nobody knows the number, but have died on the front line.
It's probably a couple 100,000 based off of the most conservative estimates. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The Ukrainians are failing. Why would I negotiate now? Like in a certain sense, they have the least amount of incentive right now to negotiate. So I'm hoping that Donald Trump can actually change that and bring this to some sort of bigger settlement and convince Putin that it's not in his best interest. But the deck is arrayed against him. It has been for years. Nobody wants to listen. Today is the 1,000th day, apparently, of the Ukraine war, which is crazy. And if you consider, like, all of the macro strategic and economic picture points in one direction: more Ukrainian territory lost. The more that they push this, the longer that it prolongs, you will see the age
until like Russia decides that their sunk cost fallacy is like too much. Like, yeah, like Ukraine does need the war to end. Russia also needs the war to end. It is the responsibility of the United States to go in there and make sure that Ukraine gets the best settlement possible.
Will continue to tick up.
Yeah, 1,000 days of the 3-day special operation. True.
With the Ukrainian military, the population will continue to suffer. Food, energy cost, all of this already. I mean, a huge percent of the country is left. Their best and the brightest have left long ago. So they have massive problems. And worse, really, is the escalation, trying to tie the Trump administration's hands. And like you said, pray and hope that this doesn't backfire. Do I think Putin is going to attack us over it? No. But, do I think that it still crosses certain red lines and gives a lot of incentives inside of the Russian military for how they should think very differently about approaching the West and even any hope of a rapprochement with them that lasts longer than Donald Trump, which is what I think everybody should like to see.
Sorry,
so I don't Putin is going to attack us over it? No. But, do I think that it still crosses certain red lines and gives a lot of incentives inside of the Russian military for how they should think very differently about approaching the West and even any hope of a rapprochement with them that lasts long?
Is it just because it's sped up? What the is he saying? What is the word? Because even the closed captioning isn't catching it.
Differently about approaching the West and even any hope of a rapprochement with them that lasts longer than Donald Trump, which is what I think everybody should like to see. So I don't know. And the North Korea thing, just final point.
Yeah.
We've talked about, the fact that some thousands of troops that are in Russia is a failure of Biden foreign policy. Donald Trump had a policy of engagement with North Korea. That was great because we actually had good.
No, we had engagement with North Korea for like a month, and then they resumed their nuclear testing. Like Trump didn't accomplish anything with North Korea except for like making a new pen pal. Like, and I would give him props if he actually did accomplish anything over there. But, like, unfortunately, he didn't accomplish anything in North Korea.
relations. There were no missiles flying around, whatever. Biden came in, we immediately reverted to maximum pressure and sanctions. And what do? Of course, they go to China and Russia, right back to where they were. Now there's troops on the Ukraine front line. This could easily have been prevented. If we have diplomatic relations, then we're fine.
We didn't open up shit with North Korea after they resumed their nuclear testing, dude.
You know, their nuclear program, by the way.
He told them to stop throwing stuff at Hawaii? North Korea shooting shit at Hawaii? Do you mean Japan? If North Korea wanted to shoot a missile at the United States, they would shoot at Alaska. Like the entire western coast of the mainland United States is closer to North Korea than Hawaii. And also, where did we get the 3-day special operation thing? That's what Putin said was going to be the goal. It was going to be done in 3 days. And it lasted 1,000.
Nothing has happened to it. Plot twist over the last 4 years.
Okay, one meme, and I really want to finish this. That's right, he saluted an enemy general.
Maximum pressure on their thing. It's the same story with Iran, with Venezuela. After you reach a certain critical mass, it's not sanctions on all this. It will do nothing.
Yeah, how many years have we had sanctions on Cuba? What is that?
60? Yeah.
I mean,
actually, maybe more. Yeah.
It's just
we probably should have a better relationship with Cuba. We should I don't know much about our why we still continue to embargo them on the level that we do. Increasing trade and relations with Cuba would probably make it to where that they would not be a communist state as much. But,
Say one last point on the European leaders and the call with Olaf Scholz and all of that, because I think that's very significant, is not only do they see the writing on the wall in terms of this war, which has gone on for far too long, where, the US and the UK banded together to block any sort of potential peace deal at the beginning. I mean, that really was the failure, because that was the time when Russia was in the most precarious position, where it was unclear how people would respond politically, where it was unclear how much the sanctions would bite, where it was unclear how much the loss of life would create instability, within the country itself. They've weathered all those storms. So that continues to have been the real failing and missed opportunity in this war. But I think also a lot of these leaders are looking at the fact that, I did a monologue yesterday about how Democrats' commitment to genocide in Gaza, and also a number of voters mentioned the war in Ukraine was part of what turned them off from voting for Democrats again. Because, even as you see...
Yeah, I mean, all the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan that decided to vote for Trump are probably super happy that the... Oh, did I... One sec. Oh, damn it. Did I close out the tab? What was his name? Mike Huckabee. No, not Guckabee. Huckabee Media. Yeah, I'm sure that the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan are probably super happy that this guy is going to be our what do you call him? Ambassador to Israel.
There are certain words I refuse to use. There is no such thing as a West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. There's no such thing as a settlement. They're communities, they're neighborhoods, they're cities. There's no such thing as an occupation. There are certain...
He's it takes it to a level that even I wouldn't. Jesus Christ.
You still see pretty decent levels of support
the guy
for
talking,
Ukraine.
Yeah, I know.
Americans are
Huckabee
sympathetic
is
to the
insane.
cause. But they also got the accurate sense from Joe Biden in particular, but by extension Kamala Harris, that this is what he actually cared about. He didn't really care that much that you couldn't afford groceries, that your budget was stretched tight, that you couldn't imagine ever even being able to become a homeowner. The only thing he could really talk about was NATO and...
Also, I hate that talking point because the federal government doesn't have that much control over how much houses cost.
August and this, visions of grandeur with regard to this imagined fight between democracy and autocracy, where we're the good guys when manifestly with regard to our actions in Gaza, we are not the good guys. So I think they also are reading the political tea leaves, not just here, of how this had an impact on the election and helped to bring Trump back to the White House, but you see parties throughout Europe that are both on the right and on the left who are critics of the European and the American policy vis-a-vis Ukraine, who are on the rise. And, there's a number of factors that go into that, but Ukraine is certainly one of them. And so I think that's the other piece, is not only reading the tea leaves and the writing on the wall with regard to the status of the war and how things are likely to go in the future, but also looking out for their own political survival and realizing that there's a real political backlash to this endless support for Ukraine. And what is it?
We should give them even more. We should give them 5,000 attack missiles a day and have laser guided U.S. satellites showing them the exact positions of Russian troops and supply lines. That's how I'm going to end this segment because I don't want to hear her like talk anymore. Jesus Christ. Like at the end of the day, like if you're not standing with Ukraine, you're standing with Russia. There isn't really much in the way of like being in between those two positions. You can say, I want there to be an end to the war, but like, what does an end to the war mean? An end to the war for me, because I do want an end to the war, an end to the war for me means that we, you know, set Ukraine up for the best possible settlement out of this war possible, right? Russia is like obviously trying to like expand their sphere of influence. They've been with us for years and years. They're with Europe or European allies by sending sabotage campaigns into Europe, paying people off to blow up, you know, set fire to buildings and, you know, cut fiber optic cables and shit like that. Like, Russia is not our friend. Russia does not want to be our friend. Russia is an openly antagonistic like nation to the United States. And the less they get out of any settlement, the better for us. If you don't ban me before we set it up, have a nice stream, bro. Catch up soon. All right, catch you later, man. By the way, I won't be streaming for very much longer, just so everybody knows. If you haven't watched me before, I'm SunSoul. I like to argue with people. I like to talk to people. I like to go through stuff on the news. I'm currently pursuing a degree in political science or politics and administration, depending on which one will get me through my degree faster at this point. Because if they get rid of the Department of Education, then I will never get a degree. Because that is the only way that I could ever fund myself getting a degree. So yeah, if you guys like my stream, then please like the stream, hit the thumbs up on it, go to my channel, subscribe to the channel. There's the Discord. If you guys ever think that there's something that you disagree with, that you don't like that I'm saying, there is a link for the Discord. It is right here. Discord. Base Pell Grant enjoyer. Yes, the Pell Grant system and the subsidized student loan system is the only reason I have ever been able to afford college. And if they get rid of the Department of Education, then goodbye my chances of ever having a like legitimate career. Instead, I will be poor for the rest of my life. Just like I've been poor for the entire first half of my life, I'll be poor for the rest of my life. So not looking forward to that. Thank you, Republicans, for doing that to me. Very directly harming my like life, very directly harming everyone that I know. So 1 second. You don't need an education to get good jobs. In terms of anything that I give a f about, yeah, like a good job in either education or administration, like writing policy for education so that like kids have a better path forward in the world. Like, yeah. I don't want to be a welder. No shade at people who like go to trade schools, but like that's not where my talents lie. My talents lie not in like manual labor. Otherwise, I would have done it like 5 years ago, right? Because I did like super hardcore consider going and doing a trade school. But like at the end of the day, you got to know what you are good at and what would be like the best thing for you. The best thing for me would be getting a degree and working on something like super white collar, not because I'm scared of manual labor. I've done manual labor like the majority of my adult life, right? You want an enjoyable job? It's not even that it's enjoyable. It's something that I would be good at and something that I know enough about and that I can contribute to. But if I like don't have access to getting a degree, then I would be like wasting the one thing that I do know that I'm good at. It took me what, like 25 years to realize what I can contribute to the world and like actually do. Like I changed my college major. Like I've talked about this on stream. I've changed my college major 7 times, you know? Like I didn't know what I wanted to be. One of those, and in between some of these college, like the major changes that I did, But yeah, like again, like you should like, if you don't think that college is a good thing for you, then don't go to college. That's not like a bad path, right? It's not like you're a stupid person or you're like a bad person or you're like wasting your potential on it, right? Unless you are. Like, if you want to be a plumber or like something like that, and that's just like where your talents lie, and that's like enough to make you happy, and you just like all you need is like the paycheck, then that's fine. But for me, like, the paycheck isn't the like top goal. The top goal is being able to contribute to something that I know that I can contribute to. There is no thing better than sending something you created out of wood. I spent $7K to do it. I understand what you mean. It is impossible to put into words how insane, manipulated, and full of half-truths and autocratic Russian narratives the American media is. When you watch all this from abroad, how broken the media is. Yeah, no, like, one of the things that I'm like super freaked out about is the total break from reality. Like, 80% of people on the internet are. Like, it doesn't matter if you're right or left, right? Like, leftists believe a lot of crazy bullshit. Conservatives believe a lot of crazy bullshit. And there's like very few people in the middle at this point that have like a shared view of what is happening in reality. And that's utterly terrifying. It's utterly terrifying. My mom made me go to college when I wanted to be a carpenter. Well, see, like, if I wanted to be a carpenter, then I would have gone and been a carpenter, right? Like, college wasn't the only option for me, right? Like, I can work with my hands. I could be a successful carpenter. I could be a successful welder. I could be successful in any of these things. But number one, it wouldn't make me happy because it wouldn't be contributing to something that, like, I feel is something that I would be, you know, contributing well to. And number two, there's like goals that I have and things that I want to see happen in the world. And I know that I can contribute to those things. If I thought that, like, if I was going to college simply so that I could make like a bigger paycheck, then I would go into business or finance. All right. I'm going in it for politics and administration or political science, depending on what will get me through the fastest at this point, you know? But you just have to know like what you're like going for and what like you want to do in your life. Unfortunately for me, I fucked up way too much in my early life because I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know? Thanks for the sub, Freckle Drogan. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyways, I'm going to have to end the stream here. I don't know, again, like everything right now because of everything going on in my life and with work and with family, and I'm going to be traveling to see my family for Thanksgiving. So I don't know the next time I'll be able to stream, all right? But please subscribe if there is an opportunity for me to stream like tomorrow, which is unlikely, but if it does happen, then I'll be streaming tomorrow. That'll be a way for you to know. If you have not joined the Discord, that's also where you'll get notifications for when I go live. We're working on setting up a Patreon because YouTube takes 30% of the money, Twitch takes 50% of your money, and I would like a bigger chunk of that because I am, you know, not a wealthy man. Patreon only takes like 8%. So we'll be working on setting up a Patreon and thinking of subscriber goals or like something like that. If you guys can think of anything, join the Discord and give me some suggestions on what we can set as like rewards for the people, you know? A chunk of what, mate? You already fat? Okay. Like, I'm sorry, like, there are some insults that you could probably, like, say about my appearance, but, like, one thing that you could not say about me is that I'm fat. Like, sometimes people will just come in here and insult me, like, with the first thing that comes to their mind. It's like, I know that this one doesn't apply to me, so it doesn't even hurt. You're gonna have to try way harder than that to hurt me. But anyways, all right. I think that's going to have to be the end of stream today. Just trolling? All right, gotcha. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end stream. I love you guys very much. I will catch you guys next time.